Tuna greets her dear friends. The danger is getting closer and threatening the peaceful life of Tuna and little Henry. Over the past few days, she has felt that something is wrong, though she couldn't quite put her finger on it. A shadow lurks, like a figure following their every step. Alex, the one too, not always trusts. Will he have the strength to protect them both? As things escalate to the breaking point, dark plots from their enemies begin to surface. Tuna's ex-mother-in-law, with eyes full of hatred, coldly declares, "I want my grandson. It's because of you that Huyen ended up in prison." Fees Karmai, her words, ring like an alarm, making Tuna unable to stop fearing what's to come. It's no longer just a family dispute over rights. It has now become a life or death battle. What will Tuna and Henry do to escape the evil clutches of their enemy? Can Alex stop the looming kidnapping scheme, or will everything fall into despair? Brace yourselves, because the kidnapping is approaching fast and everything will unfold quickly, full of drama and tension. Will Tuna be able to protect Henry, or will they fall into the trap set by their enemies? Stay tuned to find out the shocking twists in the upcoming episodes. Stay tuned, because the truth will be revealed in the breathless moments to come. After a long day at the market, Tuna finally sold all the colorful baskets of fruit. She felt tired, but the joy of finishing her work made her forget about the difficulties. When she got home, she hurriedly climbed the stairs, eager to hold little Henry in her arms. He had been at his grandmother's all day, and she was so looking forward to seeing him again. As Tuna opened the door, a strange feeling washed over her. The front door was no longer locked as usual. She distinctly remembered locking it before leaving. "I locked the door. Why is it like this now?" she thought to herself, a shiver running down her spine. Something was off. Her hands began to shake, but she quickly brushed away the anxious thought. She saw Henry's crib still there, the baby peacefully asleep. But Tuna's heart couldn't settle. With the instinct of a mother, she felt that something was wrong. Just then, Henry suddenly burst into tears. The 3-month-old's cry wasn't the usual one. There was something different about the pure sound, almost like the baby sensed the danger lurking nearby. Tuna quickly rushed over, holding him tightly, soothing him gently. "It's Mommy. It's Mommy. Henry," she whispered. But no matter what, the baby's crying wouldn't stop. The anxiety in Tuna grew stronger. She thought about the words her ex-mother-in-law had said. "I want my grandson. It's because of you that Huyen ended up in prison." Those words were like a warning, making Tuna unable to stop thinking about the danger threatening them. "No, I can't let this happen," she told herself, determined to protect Henry at all costs. But little did she know, a shadow outside the door was silently watching her every move. The figure stood in the dark, without a sound, waiting for the right moment to act. They knew all of Tuna's gestures, all the worry she was feeling. Tuna scanned the house, the feeling of unease overwhelming her. She tried her best not to let her heart waver, but the silence stretched on, making her even more anxious. Why did it feel like someone was watching? It wasn't the first time she felt this way, but this time, it was too clear. Henry cried louder in her arms, as if trying to warn her of something about to happen. Tuna held him tighter, deciding she couldn't just sit still. She had to do something right away. She walked over to the window, looking outside, but saw nothing. The view before her hadn't changed. Everything was as quiet as usual. However, when she turned back, she noticed something strange on the rug outside the door. It wasn't dirt. It was a wet footprint, fresh and clear. She stepped closer, her hand trembling as she touched the print, and a chill ran down her spine. There was no doubt anymore someone was nearby. Henry's cries grew even louder, as if urging Tuna to act immediately. She didn't have time to think much longer. She quickly checked around, but saw nothing unusual. Everything seemed to be waiting in silence for something to happen. A shadow in the corner of the house, part of the darkness itself, continued to silently watch her, cautious and waiting. Tuna could feel its presence clearly, but couldn't find anyone. The danger was too close, and everything had changed. She couldn't just stand there. She had to act. She had to protect Henry. Could Tuna escape this danger, or would she have to face a kidnapping in her own home? As the darkness began to cover the sky, it shifted from a warm orange to the deep blue of the night. The lights in the house gradually came on, illuminating every corner of the small home. Tuna sat at the table, her gaze distant, her hands tightly holding onto her son, trying to stay calm. Henry's crying had stopped, but a fear she couldn't put into words still lingered in her heart. Every sound in the house now made her jump. Her disheveled hair reflected in the mirror, but the fear and unease in her were impossible to shake. At that moment, a car slowly came to a stop in front of the gate. She stood up, her eyes fixed on the door, as if the feeling of a mother's instinct to protect her child was guiding her. Then the familiar figure of Alex appeared. She rushed outside, unable to wait, and ran straight into his arms. The warmth from his body eased the worries inside her. Alex held her tightly, as if he too was seeking peace in that moment. "What's wrong?" Alex asked, his voice full of concern, but still steady. He gently ran his fingers through her hair, tenderly, like a partner who was always ready to protect her from any storm. Tuna looked up, her eyes filled with anxiety. I think someone's been watching us." Her voice faltered, each word catching in her throat. Alex was taken aback, but he remained silent, his gaze locking with hers. A chill crept into his heart, as though everything was starting to unravel, but he still tried to stay calm. He knew that in every word Tuna spoke, there was a hidden truth. And this wasn't a coincidence. "Don't worry, I'm here. No one can hurt you," and Henry Alex said softly, but his eyes gazed off into the distance as if he was thinking about something unsaid. His words, though comforting, made Tuna feel a strange sense of reassurance. However, her worry didn't quite fade, but when he glanced toward the window, his expression grew serious. The question remained unanswered, but the suspicion within him was growing. Could it be that his sister, the one who always seemed so kind, had secretly joined forces with Tuna's evil ex-mother-in-law? Were they plotting something dark? Something no one in this family could imagine? Alex sighed quietly, then turned back to look at Tuna. Though he didn't want her to feel his unease, his eyes couldn't hide the worry. "I can't let this go on. I have to get to the bottom of this. Do they want to hurt you?" And Henry Alex whispered, his heart filled with doubt. The woman in his arms and their child were things he would never let anyone take away. Tuna stared into Alex's eyes, a deep fear rising within her. She could feel the tension in him. But deep down, she knew that if they didn't act now, everything could spiral out of control. Don't worry, Tuna. Everything will be okay as long as we face it together, Alex said, holding her tighter, but deep in his heart, the worry about the dark plot still lingered. The darkness outside wasn't just a simple black curtain. Behind it, dark schemes waited ready to explode. Could Alex protect his family from this storm? Or would they all sink into an inescapable darkness? Alex gently cradled Henry in his arms. The baby had fallen asleep in his embrace, feeling the soft breath of the child. He then turned to look at Tuna. "You know," Alex said warmly, "today I signed a big deal, a project I've been working on for a long time, and it's finally a success." Tuna looked up, her eyes showing clear joy. She always knew Alex was persistent and determined, but this success was something she had also been waiting for. "Congratulations, Alex. You're amazing." She smiled, though she couldn't hide the slight worry in her heart. Alex softly kissed Henry's forehead, then turned to Tuna, his eyes shining with joy. "Thank you. I'm really happy I was able to do this. You know, when we achieve something, the most important thing is having someone to share it with. And I want you to be the first to know." But then suddenly, a question slipped out of Tuna's mouth, causing the joyful atmosphere in the room to quiet down. "Do you think your mother knows about this?" Alex fell silent for a moment, his gaze becoming distant, as if an invisible weight had settled on his heart. Although he didn't want Tuna to sense anything other than happiness, he knew this question was unavoidable. "Don't worry," Alex said. "My mom always wants what's best for me." Tuna looked into Alex's eyes, feeling the resolve in his words. She knew Alex wasn't someone who would easily change his mind, and he would always stand by their small family. "Are you sure?" Tuna asked, her voice quieter. "What if she doesn't agree? What will we do then?" Alex looked into her eyes, his gaze now full of determination. "We'll do what our hearts tell us. No one can decide for us, especially when it comes to the happiness of our family." Alex's words felt like a vow, a promise that he would never let any external difficulties tear apart their love and family. And no matter if his mother approved or not, Alex was ready to protect Tuna and Henry no matter what. "We'll go out and enjoy these happy moments, and nothing can change that." Alex said, his voice strong and filled with love. Tuna looked into his eyes filled with certainty, and her heart warmed more than ever. She knew that no matter how many challenges lay ahead, as long as they were together, they would overcome it all. And tomorrow, they would begin a new journey, one not just of joy, but of strength and unity as a family.
Xin chào mọi người, cũng xác định mệnh đã đến. Alex đã mang cho cả team mình và một cặp nhẫn của những ngôi nhà của chúng ta. Với câu hỏi thứ nhất, em có đồng ý làm vợ hay không? Thì liệu ra người phụ nữ đã từng trải qua bao nhiêu nỗi đau quá khứ, có đủ dũng khí để mở lòng thêm một lần nữa, liệu có chấp nhận tình yêu mà Alex đã dành chọn từ ngày đầu tiên và cùng Alex có nên một chương mới và đầy hy vọng cho bé đi. Câu trả lời phía trước chắc chắn sẽ khiến mọi người nhận quyết định có thể thay đổi số phận của cả ba. Như cùng Alex, hoàng hôn buông xuống, ánh nắng cuối ngày trải dài như dải lụa vàng khắp con đường. chân tôi nặng trĩu, nó cũng rẩy, tim đập dồn dập như muốn vỡ tung lồng ngực. Trong đầu tôi hình dung khoảnh khắc mình quỳ xuống, đôi bàn tay run nâng chiếc hộp nhỏ chứa cặp nhẫn biểu tượng cho một lời hứa vĩnh hằng. Tôi kể thì thầm với chính mình rồi đặt ra thành lời: Na, từ ngày đầu tiên gặp em, trái tim mình đã thuộc về em. Em có đồng ý để trả anh chăm sóc và yêu thương em đến hết cuộc đời này không? Khi đứng trước cánh cửa gỗ ấy, ký ức như một dòng thác ùa về. Tôi thấy là ánh mắt mong manh như thiên đường ngã bên bờ sông ngày